In this project, we're going to build a basic math quiz game using the ask answer blocks, as well as an if then else conditional statement. We're also going to have a look at how we can upload custom backdrops and sprites. The code sequence in this game is fairly short, but it is complicated. We have a button that sends a broadcast, and we have a sprite that asks the user his or her name and a math question. To begin with, I'm going to create a button. This is something that was covered in an earlier project. This button is going to send a broadcast when this sprite is clicked. Broadcast. Now I need to do two things. I need to set up a backdrop and also a sprite. By default, you get a white backdrop. Something that we can do though is that you can use Google image search and find your own backdrops. I'm going to a new tab. And I'm going to find a chalkboard. Let's go to images. I'm going to select this one. It's important to allow the image to fully load. There's a little grey bar down the bottom that you can watch. I'm going to move my browser to the side and drag and drop this image onto the desktop. Back to scratch, I can now upload that. There's two ways that I can do that. I can upload from here, or under the backdrop tab, I have the same upload button. I find the image on the desktop and click open. So when this image is loaded, it often needs to be resized and repositioned. You can do that by using the select tool and drawing a rectangle just around the outside of the shape. And we can now move it and resize it the way that we'd like. I'm going to use the paint bucket tool now and a gradient with black for my ground. And I should have enough room for the input box. Time now for a sprite. I go back to my Google search. It's important to understand that the kind of image that you're looking for in a sprite is what's called a PNG file. A PNG file often has a transparent background. I use PNG in the search term. Now sometimes doing a PNG search doesn't give you what you're looking for. Another good method is to use clip art. The problem with using a clip art search is that more often than not the background of the image is not transparent, but we can use preview and instant alpha to make our own PNG files. But this time I'm going to open it up so that it opens up in preview. Now I go to the toolbox and choose Instant Alpha because there is a white background here at the moment that I need to delete. So I'm going to do that now. Instant Alpha, click and drag to highlight the backdrop and then press delete on your keyboard. Preview will ask you if you want to convert this to a PNG, and we do. So click convert. I know that there's also a small part just in here. Now all we need to do is file and save and close that down. In the same way that we uploaded the backdrop, we can upload a sprite. So in the sprite section here, click upload. We now upload our PNG file. Get my sprite to the right size. It's now time to program our Einstein sprite. I'm going to begin with when the green flag is clicked, and I would like for the game to start with my Einstein sprite asking the user their name. So I'm going to use ask. We've already got the question in there, what is your name? This light blue block is going to generate an input box down the bottom, and whatever the user enters into that is saved as a variable in this blue answer block. So now we can say, and under operators, we can use a join block. We can say hello. Now something that's important to understand just here is that if we don't put a space at the end of this word, the person's name and hello are going to be joined together. So we need just to put one space. Now we can drag the answer block into here and drop that into here. So as we saw in project 6 and 7, you can put blocks inside of blocks, clicking the green flag. What's your name? The user can either click on the tick or press return on the keyboard. If you wanted to get some punctuation in there, we can add another join block, put answer in here, and then a full stop. Click the green flag. So the next thing to do is to set up the block sequence for the question. I'm going to put in a say block first of all, so that the Einstein sprite can prompt the user to click the question button. The question button is sending a broadcast when clicked. So the Einstein sprite, when I receive, can then start asking the maths question. In this example, I'm just going to use a simple addition. So I'm going to need to create a variable for the first number. I'm just going to call that first. I'm going to create another variable for the second number. We don't want to view these variables, so I'm going to take the tick off so that those variables disappear from the stage. So I've created my two variables. Now the first step is to set the two variables to the values that we want. The first number and the second number. I'm just going to use two values here to begin with, just so that you can see how the block sequence works. 3 and 5. So when the question broadcast is received, the two variables, the first and the second, are set. We can now ask our question. So let's set this up with some join blocks. So we can ask what is, and we need to put a space after that. We're going to use another join block now. So what is the first number? Join block. What is the first number? Remembering to use the space key. Space, plus, and another space. Join block. The second number. And finish with a question mark. I can drag this into the ask block. We're now going to use our if, then, else conditional statement. Now this block determines whether the person playing the game gets the question correct or gets the question incorrect. So if, and we need to set up a little calculator here, if the first number plus the second number is the same as the answer that's given, then say that's correct, or else say that's incorrect. Let's set up the feedback first of all. So I'm going to use two say blocks. So we're getting close to being finished here. We just need to set up our calculator part here. I'm going to use an operator block, the addition block. And the way we need to think about this, if the answer equals the first number plus the second number, then we say it's correct, or else we say it's not correct. Another operator here, the equals block. If the answer provided is equal to the first number plus the second number, then say yes, it's correct, say no, it's not correct. Okay, so let's test that now. Click on the green flag. What's your name? 3 plus 5 is 8. Yes, that's correct. Click on the question button. Let's get it wrong this time. So that'll get pretty boring pretty quickly with only 3 plus 5. So let's use two pick random blocks to make this interesting. I'll click the question button. So it's up to you the kind of maths question that you want to ask, whether it's addition, multiplication, whatever it might be, and select your random number range to make it as easy or difficult as you want. Have some fun with that. Enjoy.